I've had the Quest 3 for exactly 3 months now, and this is my honest 3-month review. For context, I've had a Samsung Odyssey Plus since 2018, and I put 80 hours on that. So far, I have about 25 hours on the Quest, and although the Quest 3 is a standalone VR headset, I use it with my PC. So now that you know where I'm coming from, let's get into the Quest 3 itself. When I first unboxed it, my first impression of the Quest 3 is that it feels like a premium product. Even the headset startup makes you feel like you bought a quality product worthy of your investment. While the buttons on both the headset and the controllers aren't anything to write home about, the materials the headset and controllers are made of feel very nice. Everything feels very well put together and well designed. The controllers are super light, but other than that, everything feels really solid. One con about the head strap is that it can feel a bit flimsy until you adjust it exactly snug enough. But before I go into the pros and cons, I'll talk through my overall experience, including the interface, both physical and software, the compatibility, and lastly, the performance. Let's start with the interface. Like I mentioned before, the initial startup feels very classy. There are a lot of menus to go through, and you're probably going to want to Google how to do certain things. It might be best to Google a best settings video to get familiar with everything you can change, since it might come with some unwanted settings out of the box. For example, I don't like how it asks me to generate a new boundary every time something moves slightly in my room since the last time I played it. I also don't like the fact that the headset locks every time I take it off my face, whether it's because I'm grabbing a drink of water or I'm adjusting something on my PC. Overall, the software user interface isn't bad once you know where everything is and what settings you like. As for the physical interface, i.e. the buttons and triggers, they're okay. The power button, lens adjustment, and volume buttons aren't super clicky, but they get the job done. The letter buttons on the controller are mushier than a standard Xbox controller, and since I'm already comparing it to an Xbox controller, the triggers are way softer and the joysticks feel tighter whenever you're moving around, but less clicky whenever you're pressing them, if that makes sense. As far as compatibility goes, I've had no issues other than the initial setup to play wireless, and that's because I was trying to connect it directly to Steam VR. You have to have the MetaQuest Link app and launch Steam VR through there. Knowing this would have saved me a couple hours of troubleshooting, but at least that's the only issue I've had, because every game I've played so far has been 100% compatible with both the controllers and the headset, so no issues there. So how's it to game with? Well, honestly, it's pretty awesome. Remember how I mentioned I come from using an Odyssey Plus? Well, that thing has an annoying cable, and despite being on a pulley system, the cable was still getting tangled and it would pull on the headset. In other words, pull on my head whenever I was moving, turning, crouching, and going prone. Needless to say, playing wireless PCVR is a dream come true. The freedom you get from having nothing attached to the computer, or in this case a pulley system, is really great because I can now move as I please. The headset also tracks a lot better than my last headset, and that combined with the pancake lenses makes it a blast, which is why I might as well get into the pros of the headset. There are a few things that made the MetaQuest 3 a massive upgrade from my last headset, and by that I mean I enjoy VR so much more now. The first thing that completely transformed my VR gameplay is the fact that this thing has pancake lenses. The pancake lenses are so much clearer compared to the Fresnel lenses that I had on my last headset. It really is night and day in terms of clarity. The second thing that made the Quest 3 an awesome experience is the controllers. They track really well and they don't have the stupid rings around them that get in the way when throwing grenades, reloading, or doing anything that involves having the controllers really close to each other. I feel like I'm actually competent in FPS games now, since I can actually aim and throw grenades and really just interact with things the way that you're meant to. But on another note, the third thing that makes the Quest 3 an awesome headset is the fact that I can play wireless PCVR. Not having to deal with a cable while still being able to enjoy the performance of my 4080 is really badass. Now that I've talked about why this thing completely transformed my VR experience in a positive way, I should also mention that there are some things that this headset doesn't do as good as I hoped. The first con of the headset I noticed is the fact that light leaks in through the bottom of the face pad. I have mine adjusted tight enough to leave a mark on my face after just 30 minutes of use, and it still leaks light. I know that this can probably be remedied with an aftermarket face cover, but that's annoying to have to upgrade to fix something that shouldn't be a problem in the first place. And speaking about upgrades, most people will probably also opt for an aftermarket head strap for comfort. Although I wouldn't say the stock head strap is super uncomfortable, I would say that the headset moves around when I'm turning around a lot, especially when I'm facing up or down for a prolonged amount of time. It definitely makes me feel like it's going to fall off my head sometimes. And while the head strap isn't the most comfortable, comfort isn't the only reason why I would get an aftermarket one. The battery life on the headset is pretty bad. I get about 2 hours on mine before it's down to 4%, which isn't a lot considering I'm not using it to render the actual games I'm playing. And to back that up, I don't remember the last time I played a match of any multiplayer game without someone having to leave because their battery was going to die. On a completely separate note, I don't know if it's because I come from the Odyssey with a OLED display and amazing colors, but the display on the Quest 3 is definitely lacking in terms of colors. It's especially noticeable with the darker shades because the color black just doesn't look black. It looks more like a dark gray. And because of this, the colors really hurt the immersion sometimes, and I don't know if I'll ever get used to them. I know this has been a long list of cons, but the last con I can think of is the fact that you have to use the MetaQuest Link app and launch Steam VR through there instead of just connecting your headset directly to Steam VR. No one told me you have to have the MetaQuest Link app always open, so I spent hours trying to get the damn thing to work, but it was totally my fault because I probably could have read the instructions. Now that I've gone over the pros and cons, let me tell you how I feel about the value that this headset provides. I personally bought mine for $370 from someone who used it once or twice and never touched it again. And I have to say that I'm very happy with my Quest 3 for this price, especially considering how much of an upgrade it is compared to my last headset. Would I have bought it for $499 plus tax brand new? Maybe. I know I was getting really close to buying it brand new since I really wanted to try it and I wasn't seeing any good deals on open box and used ones. Basically, my conclusion is that if you really enjoy PCVR and you're playing on an older headset, anything that came out before this basically or has Fresnel lenses, I would definitely recommend the Quest 3, especially if you're someone who clocks in a lot of hours in VR. But on the flip side, if you're more of a casual gamer, I'd definitely try it at a friend's house or try to buy it open box or slightly used like I did. That way, if you don't like it and you find yourself having to sell it off, you don't lose that much, if anything, on the resale value. So I think that about wraps it up for this 3-month owner's review of my Quest 3. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Got his ass. He was on the bed. He can stand on the bed apparently.